Hello everyone, this is part 32 of What If Naruto Was Trained by Anko, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. It's a piece of beauty, Naruto. Where did you get it? Tenten asked, interested. Would you believe me, if I said that I forged it myself? Naruto smirked. No way. Do you really expect me to believe that? Tenten exclaimed loudly, alerting the other of their conversation. Anko told the rest of them to keep working while she joined the two youngsters in their conversation. Believe it or not, Tenten, it's true. Naruto-kun forged it while we were training in the Forest of Death. Anko said, confirming Naruto's claim. He also made these for me. She then took out one of the throwing knives and showed it to her. Tenten took it from her and inspected it just as closely as she did with Naruto's sword. Just like the sword, its balance was amazing, and she handed it back to Anko, who carefully stored it back into its place. I'm sorry I didn't believe you, Naruto. It just seemed so unbelievable that you were capable of forging such amazing weapons. Tenten apologized to Naruto. Hey, don't worry about that, Tenten-chan. I'm still not sure how I managed to do so in the first place. Naruto smiled at her. Does your sword have a name? Tenten asked, now truly interested in Naruto's SKS. A name? Why does it need a name? Naruto said while wondering what good a name would do. Naruto, a sword like this needs a name. A sword isn't just a weapon, you know. It's an extension of your body, it's part of you just like your arms or legs. Tenten started to explain. If you look at the swords of the great swordmasters in the world, you'll notice that their swords all have a name. You mean like how Zabuza called his sword, Kubakiri Hoko? Naruto said loudly. He wished he didn't because Tenten grabbed him by his shoulders, looking very excited. What was that name? Say that name again. She yelled while shaking Naruto back and forth. Kubakiri Hoko. Kubakiri Hoko. Naruto managed to say. Tenten couldn't believe what she was hearing. Are you saying you encountered one of the most legendary swords in the shinobi world? A sword used by one of the Kiri no Shinobugatana Shichinen Shu. Tenten all but yelled. Tenten, calm down, will you? Anko said. If you stop shaking Naruto like that, he'll be able to answer you. This made Tenten snap out of it, and she quickly apologized again. When his head stopped spinning, Naruto started to tell her about how they had encountered Zabuza in Wave and how they had fought against each other. Tenten was listening with a bit of envy, as she had always dreamed to meet one of the 7 most famous swordmasters around. When she heard that Naruto and Anko defeated Zabuza, she immediately asked what had happened to the sword. This made Naruto and Anko cringe a bit, knowing that the destruction of a sword like that would be unpleasant news to someone like Tenten. It was destroyed during battle. I'm sorry, Naruto said, a bit ashamed that he had been the one to destroy it. Destroyed? How is that even possible? Those swords are rumored to be the strongest swords in existence. Tenten stated, perplexed. It got cracked by one of Naruto-kun's attacks. When he used an even stronger attack, it completely broke into pieces. Anko told her. Holy s! Tenten yelled loudly before she clasped both hands on her mouth. Naruto and Anko laughed loudly at Tenten's embarrassment. It took both of them to calm Tenten down to a level where she could listen to Naruto's explanation of how it happened exactly. Tenten couldn't believe what she was hearing. A genin had destroyed a world-renowned sword with a sword that he had forged himself. She briefly wondered if he was pulling her leg and would suddenly tell her that he had been joking, but seeing their faces, she knew it was all true. Well, while I'm a bit sad that such a sword got destroyed, I understand that you didn't have a choice at that time. I'm not mad at you, Naruto. As a matter of fact, I'm amazed at your SK. Tenten admitted. Naruto was glad his friend didn't really blame him for destroying the Kubakiri Hoko. He certainly could understand why she was a bit mad, knowing that she admired it so much. He nodded at her before unsheathing his sword once more. He then told her that he would think about a name for his sword before he asked Tenten if she would help him with his kenjutsu, to which she happily agreed to. She told him that she didn't have many opportunities to spar using kenjutsu. Naruto promised her that if she wanted to spar with him, all she had to do was ask. So for the rest of morning both of them were sparring together, both enjoying having someone to practice with. On the other side of town, Tsunade and the former Sandaime were walking through the village on their way to a certain storyana. Now that she was officially the Godime Hokage, she could start on those ideas she had together with Naruto. She was kind of looking forward to see the council's reaction to the changes. No doubt a lot of yelling and protesting would be involved. But this was something she needed to do in her opinion. She would have to show them that she meant business and that she wouldn't let anyone walk over her just because she was a woman. She followed her sensei inside the shop and together they went over to the counter. The man behind it was reading some magazine about the latest weapons available throughout the shinobi world. When he saw who it was, he quickly put the magazine away and greeted the duo. "Good morning, Godime-sama, Sandaime-sama." Hideki greeted them. "Good morning, Hideki-san, there's no need to address me with that title anymore," Sarutobi said with a smile. "As for me, Tsunade will do as well," Tsunade said. She remembered the man from when she was still a student under Sarutobi-sensei. "Thank you, Tsunade-sama, Sarutobi-san. Now what can I do for the both of you?" Hideki asked curiously before guiding them inside his house and offering some tea. "Straight to the point, I like that. Very well, I'm here to ask for your assistance into a certain matter," Tsunade said before she started to explain what she wanted to deal with the civilian council. When he heard that she wanted him to become head of that council, he was very surprised. He couldn't help but ask why she asked him for such a position. Surely there was someone who was more qualified than he was. "I'm asking you because you came highly recommended by Sensei here and Namikaze Naruto," Tsunade explained. "I trust Sensei with my life and I know he wouldn't recommend you if he didn't have the utmost confidence in you. And Naruto is an excellent judge of character, so I know you're someone who I can trust as well." Naruto said that. "That boy keeps surprising me every time I see or hear him." Hideki chuckled, making Sarutobi smile as well. "You don't have to give me your answer right away, but I would like to know as soon as possible," Tsunade said while standing up. "No need, Tsunade-sama. I'll give you my answer right now. I accept your offer, Hokage-sama. I would be my honor to serve you and my village once more. Besides, if both Sarutobi-san and Naruto-kun believe in me, then I can't disappoint them, can I?" Hideki respectfully answered. "Thank you, Hideki-san. Please join me later tonight for the council meeting. I'll make your appointment official then," Tsunade said gratefully. After saying goodbye, Tsunade and Sarutobi made their way back to the tower to prepare for the meeting later that day. Both knew it would be a heated meeting, so they needed to be prepared for anything. Tsunade briefly wondered if she should invite Naruto so he could explain his ideas to the council in person, but decided against it in the end. It would be bad enough as it is, so there was no need to make it worse. She knew that while a lot of people had started to accept Naruto, there were still some people who hated him with a passion. When they arrived in her office, they immediately started checking up on the Shodaime's laws to make sure everything she did was justified and correct. After an afternoon of browsing through several books and writing down some information, Tsunade, Sarutobi and Hideki were making their way to the council chambers. Each of them was dressed in their best attire so that they would impress the rest of the council. Politics were not only about knowledge and power but also about prestige and presence. The ability to impress others was a valuable skill to have for a politician. Tsunade opened the doors and with her head held high but without any sign of arrogance, she went inside and took her place on the Hokage's chair. Both Sarutobi and Hideki took positions standing next to her. "Members of the council, I thank you for joining me today. We have a lot of work to do, so I'll get straight to the point," Tsunade said with authority. "I'm hereby opening the first council meeting under the rule of the Godime Hokage. However, this meeting is special as I will explain some change that both civilian and shinobi council will undergo." "What do you mean by changes, Hokage-sama?" Hyuga Hiashi said, voicing the question everyone wanted to ask. "I'm glad you asked, Hyuga-san. But before that I would like to address some problems with the current councils." Tsunade smirked before leaving her seat and walking to the middle of the floor just in front of the seated council members. "It has come to my attention that some of you think your position of council member allows you to gain power and to enrich yourself or your clan. I would like to rectify that belief," Tsunade said with conviction. "Let me make one thing absolutely clear. The council's job is to assist the Hokage in running the village. In no way is the council to take any decisions without the approval of the Hokage. While Sarutobi-sensei may have been kind enough to allow some transgression, I will not. Do not take me for a weak woman who will let herself be pushed around. When I accepted the position of Hokage, I swore to protect this village from any threats, be it from outside or inside the village. This made a few council members feel a little uneasy knowing that Tsunade knew exactly who she was talking about. They would have to make sure that she couldn't find out if they went behind her back. With Sarutobi they had some leeway as he was an old man and he needed the council to run the village. He was too old and tired to go toe-to-toe with the council on such small matters, but it seemed Tsunade would do everything in her power to make sure they were unable to go behind her back. Now that I have made it clear that I won't tolerate such behavior, I would like to express my gratitude to those who have served this council and our village with honesty and good intentions. Your work and efforts are very much appreciated, Tsunade said before giving him a slight bow. Alright, let me explain some of the changes I want this council to undergo. Tsunade then proceed to tell both councils that as of this moment they would have a head who would only answer to her. This person would be the Hokage's representation in everything and would listen to the proposals made by the council. The head of each council will take care of meetings and would report to the Hokage once a week, and together they would decide what got approved or what got disapproved. They would have the power to decide on minor things, but urgent and important decisions would be made by the Hokage. When she finished explaining, the council was in uproar and it took several minutes before they calmed down enough to allow some questions. Hokage-sama, who would be the head of each council? The head of the Nara clan asked. Good question, Nara-san. Let me introduce to you all the head of the civilian council. Tsunade then motioned Hideki to come forward. I'm sure most of you recognize Hideki-san. For those of you who don't know him, this is Masahiro Hideki. He's a retired shinobi who fought alongside Sarutobi-sensei many years ago and has accepted to serve his village once more. Hideki bowed deeply to the members of both councils and was glad to see that many of them had recognized him. For the shinobi council, I have asked Sarutobi-sensei to take the position of head of the council, she said, and Sarutobi took a step forward. For the most part, the shinobi council was glad when they heard that their former Hokage would be their head. This is preposterous, one shinobi council member exclaimed. When Tsunade looked who it was, she saw that it was none other than Danzo. She remembered what Sarutobi had told her about the man. He was an old warhawk who had competed with him for the position of Hokage and who was known for his violent and aggressive way of thinking. You do not have the authority to implement these changes, Danzo yelled loudly. That's where you are wrong, Danzo-san. No matter if she disliked the man, she still had to be polite. It is written in the Shodime's law book that, and I quote, when a new Hokage is appointed, he or she has the power to form the council as they see fit. The council cannot be disbanded, but its composition and workings can be adapted to the current Hokage's wishes. End quote. Danzo was furious when he heard about that law. He hadn't known there was such a law in existence. After all, he didn't have access to those books as only the Hokage was allowed to see them. This was a major problem for his operations. If Tsunade found out about his root division, she would certainly have his head. He would have to be very careful around her, he realized. He had hoped that he could influence her and guide her to his views, but it seemed that it wasn't meant to be. Curse that Sarutobi for choosing her as his successor. You cannot just come in here and change everything just because you feel like it. Danzo spat. Didn't you hear what I just said? I can, and I just did. Tsunade smirked. Take it or leave it. You're just a foolish woman who thinks she's capable of being Hokage, Danzo said before he realized he said it out loud. The rest of the council gasped at his words and moved away from him. Before he could react, Danzo was slammed into the wall by Tsunade, who had a firm grip on his en. The pain he felt from being slammed into the wall was nothing compared to the pain he felt in his en. Tsunade truly had amazing strength and she wasn't afraid to use it. She knew that she had to show them that she wasn't someone to mess around with. If she let this kind of insult pass without reaction, the rest of the council would think she was all talk and no action. This was something she couldn't afford, hence why she had Danzo up against the wall. You listen to me, you little war mongrel. I don't care if you don't like me as your Hokage, but you will show me the necessary respect that comes with this TLE. Tsunade said loudly. If you ever disrespect me or the title of Hokage again, you'll regret it. Is that a threat? Danzo managed to say. No, it's a promise. If I find that you went behind my back or did anything that could endanger Konoha, I'll have you executed for treason. Is that clear? She all but shouted while putting a little more pressure on his N. Danzo could only nod his agreement, and when she released him, he slumped to the floor gasping for air. He had been a fool to question her in front of the other council members. She had used him to show the rest of them that she meant business, and at the same time she had humiliated him in front of everybody. It sucked to be him at this moment. Looking at the time, Tsunade then dismissed the civilian part of the council as the rest of the meeting was about shinobi business. They protested at first, seeing that they used to stay during those parts as well, but one look from a pissed-off Tsunade convinced them otherwise. Hideki asked the members of the council to meet him in a meeting room at 9 the following day so he could explain everything in details. He then bid Tsunade, Sarutobi and the Shinobi Council a good night before he went home as well. Let us move on with the meeting. The following thing that I would like to discuss with all of you is the curriculum at the Shinobi Academy. Tsunade said before sitting down again. She hoped that things could be discussed in a peaceful manner without the shouting and yelling like before. She then started to explain her ideas and what she wanted to achieve with those changes. A lot of the shinobi present were very positive about the ideas and seemed to be very excited. When she was done explaining, she opened the floor for questions. Tsunade-sama, I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say that those are excellent ideas, but won't it take a lot of time and money to change everything? Hiyashi remarked. That is why I propose to have a gradual change over the next few years. I thought that we could start with having the fourth-year students completing some D-rank missions and see what the result would be. Tsunade agreed. But who would supervise them? The academy doesn't have enough teachers to provide each team with a supervisor. Another member called out. That is true. But Sarutobi-sensei and I already have a solution for this problem. We asked several of our retired shinobi if they would be willing to guide a team during the D-rank missions. Tsunade explained. Most of them were willing to do so, and they also agreed to give them some training and advice during those missions. Of course, their experience is a valuable source of training and guidance. The Aberrane Council member said. Hokage-sama, forgive me if this sounds somewhat disrespectful. I assure you that I mean no disrespect, but did you come up with these ideas on your own? Inoiki Yamanaka asked. No need to apologize, Yamanaka-san. The answer to your question is no, I did not come up with these ideas. As a matter of fact, none of these ideas are mine. Tsunade answered, shocking most of the council. Then who came up with these ideas, if I may ask? Inoiki said. Each and every one of these ideas was given to me by Namikaze Naruto. He told me that these were some of the things he would change when he became Hokage. Tsunade said proudly. Both she and Sarutobi were glad to see that most of the members looked very impressed and that almost none of them had any negative reactions to Naruto. It was proof of how much Naruto had impressed them over the past few months. Then I would like to propose to name the reforms as the Namikaze reforms. Hiyashi said with a smile. When he heard from Hinata that it was thanks to Naruto that she managed to become strong, he had a lot of gratitude and respect for the young shinobi. The other council members seemed to agree with Hiyashi, and Tsunade had no problem to accept it as well. She wondered how the Gaki would react when he heard about it. For the rest of the meeting they talked about how and when they would start the changes and who would be responsible for overseeing everything. It was late at night when everything was finally decided and the council members left for their home. Tsunade and Sarutobi went to her office so they could have a drink on the success of the first meeting. That wasn't so bad, was it? Sarutobi said while bringing the sake saucer to his mouth. I guess it could have gone much worse. I didn't expect Danzo to make such a mistake though. Tsunade agreed. Yes, that was unsuspected. But you did a good job on setting him straight. Sarutobi said, chuckling at the memory of Danzo being slammed into the wall. I just hope he doesn't try anything. Tsunade sighed. Don't worry about it for now. Focus on running the village and we'll deal with him when the time is right. Her sensei said. After talking a bit longer and enjoying the taste of sake, both of them went home in search of some much-needed sleep. The last few days had been tiring for both of them. The last thing that went through Tsunade's mind before she fell asleep was asking Dan and Nawaki if they were proud of her and a promise to protect the village as best as she could. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.